Hello everyone, welcome to Peach on Earth Tarot. Today I'm going to be doing a reading for Taurus. You can have Taurus anywhere in your chart. You can be a cross watcher. All that I ask is that if you're here watching this reading, that you come with good intentions for yourself and for others. Okay, Taurus. So when I was shuffling the cards and getting into your energy, I had some messages come through. The first one was the word upside down. Or the words upside down. And then it made me think okay, so first it made me think like something in your life feels like it's turned upside down. I just heard the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song, like, my life got turned, flipped upside down. Yeah. So you could just feel like something in your life just got totally turned on its head. But then after I got the message of like upside down, I heard like Stranger Things, because if you don't watch Stranger Things, there's a place called Upside Down in Stranger Things. But it wasn't even like about the show necessarily. Like maybe that is a confirmation for you if you enjoy that show. The fourth season is coming out on May 27th. So I don't know if that date means something to you or what. But also they were saying like Stranger Things, as in just like strange things are happening in your life maybe, or even stranger things have happened. Like, so it's like something got flipped upside down, but it's like, you know what? It's not the end of the world. Stranger things have happened. And it's not like something to necessarily like get super freaked out about. Okay, and then let's see. And then I heard like maybe you need to like smudge your house or even yourself. Or this is interesting. They're saying like anything you do as a hobby needs to be smudged, and your workspace needs to be smudged as well. So like if you say you play like guitar for a hobby or something, you smudge the guitar. Like there's something about like the energy, maybe you haven't felt motivated, or maybe something in that area of life has felt like it's been turned upside down. Like maybe you used to be like really motivated to practice, and now all of a sudden you're just like, you're not wanting to do it really, or something. That's interesting. So sorry to get away from the messages here, but I do want to mention, I meant to mention earlier, but I do have a cold, so I'm sorry if I need to stop and like sneeze or blow my nose or cough or something like that. I have a small window when I have time to upload videos, so I'm trying to utilize that, and I'm sick, so I just have to record anyway. I'm not like feeling super terrible. I was yesterday. Today I feel pretty all right, but I do still have a runny nose and a cough. I don't know why I went so into detail there with that, but whatever. Okay, so they also wanted me to bring up the fact that, you know, Mercury retrograde started on May 10th. Then there's Friday the 13th, and then 3 days later there is a lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. And it is a full lunar eclipse, not partial or anything like that. It's a full lunar eclipse. And, you know, eclipses are about like change, and then Scorpio is also a transformative sign. So it's like, it's just like super dense, transformative energy happening during a retrograde, which I think happens to be like kind of, I'm feeling a very positive energy from it, which is pretty interesting. Like, I don't always feel this way about Mercury retrograde. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But this one does feel really, really positive. Like, it's like transformative. It's hard to get through, but it's like once you get through, it's really, really good. And they were wanting me to bring up as well, because this came up, I think, in either Aries. It had to have been Aries. Yeah. This came up for Aries. There was a solar eclipse then, and I got a card about a lunar eclipse. And now with the lunar eclipse energy that is about to happen when I'm recording your video, there's solar eclipse energy. This card kept showing itself to me when I was shuffling the cards. But one thing they wanted to say about the lunar eclipse is that what happens is, you know, Earth casts a shadow on the moon. Earth goes directly between the sun and the moon. So the moon turns to this dusty red color. And but like when I first was like reading about this lunar eclipse, all I was hearing was like Earth's shadow, and like it's like Earth's shadow phase. Like, you know how we go through shadow periods, like where things are kind of like dense and heavier in our lives. I feel like Earth is also going through a dense, heavy period right now. Earth is going through a shadow phase. And it's interesting because like I have my ring light on up there, and the way that it's hooked up to my phone, it's like there's a bar going directly across my eyes, and it's giving me the, oh, what is that? The Parasite thing, like the movie Parasite. I've never watched that movie, but on the poster or whatever, it's like they have bars over their eyes. So maybe that movie means something to you as well. But anyway, so yeah, it's like Earth's going through a shadow phase, and maybe we are all as well. But that's the thing about it, is like there's a lot of negative energy going through the Earth right now, but I feel like in the end, like there's going to be a lot of positive change that comes from that. That's the energy I'm getting. It's like we have to go through these dark times in order to get to the light. And that's with this solar eclipse. The message that was coming through with this is because the Nine of Swords is on the bottom too. Like when I pulled this card off, the Nine of Swords was there. And so what it's telling me is like, sorry, it's like there's just these little tiny flickers of hope that are guiding us home. And look, there's like 3 phases that I was just talking about: Mercury retrograde, Friday the 13th, and the lunar eclipse, which is interesting because all of those energies have a negative connotation, but they aren't necessarily negative. Like even Friday the 13th, if you look into the history of it, it's because that's when someone chose to like burn witches or something like crazy. And so it's like we need to redeem that as witches or whatever. Like you don't have to resonate with that word, but as your own internal energy, you need to take that resonance and claim it back for yourself. Even like any negative self-talk, it needs to be reclaimed, you know? So an example, say you are a bit of a slob, okay? Which I think Taurians might be kind of, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but Taurians might be kind of slobby because they're known for like their laziness or whatever. Like they love rest and relaxation, right? And so it's like, say you have been labeled a slob your whole life, and you have really always felt really terrible about that. You have always beat yourself up over it. And this is just an example. It can literally be anything. And instead of like now making yourself feel terrible about it, just accept the fact, right? Because when we accept it, I will tell you, when you accept something about yourself, something that you have always associated as a negative trait, when you accept it, you heal it and you can move on from it. So like just by accepting the fact, like, yeah, I'm a slob, and you know, it's like not just accepting it, but it's like, okay, so just allowing people like into your space or something when you have your house is messy or whatever, and being like, this is who I am, and realize like people don't really give a shit. They really don't. I mean, and if they do, who gives a shit? Like, who cares? If that's how you're choosing to live, then that's how you're choosing to live. But anyway, so it's like by accepting something about ourselves that we have always associated as negative, you heal it, and then you can change it. Like you might notice that once you don't give a shit about anymore about being a slob, you're no longer as slob-ish, right? Like maybe it's not perfect, but it's like it improves a little bit. It's really interesting. The light just got dimmer. Maybe it's outside, but I don't really have a lot of outside light in this room. That's weird. Don't dim your light. Your light can shine bright. I just raised my light on my thing because why not? Okay, so let's see. And then I was hearing the song Rescue by Lauren Daigle or Daigle. I don't know how you pronounce her name. But so when I first heard the song and I looked it up, I had associated it with the fact that she was like singing about God or something. Excuse me. But then I just looked into it again before I started your reading, and she said it was like for a friend. But that song is about being like a beacon of light for someone who is struggling. So I was getting the sense that I don't necessarily think you are the beacon of light. I think that something in your life is shining as a beacon. It's almost like you can feel it energetically. You can feel, oh my gosh, I've been talking for so long. I haven't even got any cards. Sorry, guys. This might be a long reading. But I can just sit here and channel forever. So I'm sorry about that, but it's just what it is. So I feel like you can feel something energetically in the distance. And it just feels like it's almost like a lighthouse, you know, with that like turning light that's just like guiding you into the shores. That's what I'm getting. And especially with that water imagery, like it's something like very deeply emotional to you, especially with like all of the energy going on right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to, excuse me, let me move this. We are going to use the Book of Shadows Tarot. And what it is it's two different tarot decks, and there's an as above, so below deck. And the as above, that's the one that this card was coming out of. We're going to start with the as above and see like what the how do I want to phrase this? Like the heavenly energy, like what's going on in the cosmos, in other realms, in other dimensions. It's the energy that's there for us, or for Taurus, in the other dimensions, okay? And then with the so below deck, it's going to be how that energy is translating here on Earth for you. So like the energy that's for you above, and then what's going on with you below, and how those cards translate together, okay? So hang on a second. I have to count these because I actually didn't do this type of shuffle before because I had to pull that Three of Cups out, and then I didn't get to do that version, so yeah. Okay. Uranus is on the bottom, 7 of something. Okay, what is the above energy for Taurus, please? The above energy for Taurus. Sorry, I'm getting really nasally. What is the above energy for Taurus? Above energy for Taurus, please. Above energy for Taurus, please. I didn't bring my water over here. So we have the Wheel of the Year on the bottom. So change is afoot, right? We only have one card. I'm probably going to get more because I want more. So we have the 7 of Air, which before we had the 7 of something. I think it was 7 of Fire or 7 of Wands. So this is the 7 of Swords, and it's interesting because in these cards, like the creatures that are on them, there's usually that number of them. Like there's 7, there would normally be 7 of these little like sprites that are on this card. But there's only 2. And then there's 3 coins. So there's 2 sprites, 3 coins, and the yin yang symbol. And then with the wheel, it's like, yeah, it's just like the light and the dark, right? Like you need the dark in order to have the light. You need winter in order to have summer. You need spring in order to have fall. You need the opposite of everything. And it's interesting because I'm doing a reading for Taurus, and the eclipse is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is your opposite sign. They are directly opposite of you on this zodiac wheel. So it's like the darkness and the light, right? It's like the shadows on the moon because the sun is getting the light, or the earth is getting the sun because, you know, the earth is blocking out the sun, but not fully because the earth doesn't, it's not as big as the sun. Anyway, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like almost like the moon knows that the earth needs the sun right now because we're struggling. The earth is struggling, and the moon can hang on its own. I mean, it can't. It needs the earth to be there. I mean, not necessarily. If the earth ceased to exist, the moon would just continue on in its space travels. Like, it wouldn't also cease to exist. Because it's a rock, right? I don't know. I'm not a scientist or whatever, cosmologist. But it's, yeah, so it's interesting because it's like the Seven of Swords typically means like thievery, stealing things from someone. But it's like, it's almost like you're needing an energy right now that you can't really muster yourself. And it's okay to ask other people if they can provide that energy for you. It's their responsibility to say yes or no, right? Like, if they can't provide it, then they'll say no. Or, I mean, they should. If they can't, they should. Some people don't have the self-worth to do that. Maybe that's something you're struggling with as well. So maybe some people are asking things of you that you don't have the energy to do, but you're doing them anyway because you don't know how to not let people take from you with the Seven of Swords energy. Do you see this? There's like a ring around the yin yang. It's almost like that's the eclipse happening again. And half of it looks like a solar eclipse where the sun is blacked out, and then half of it looks like the moon. I mean, not blacked out, it's not like the red color, but that's what it is. It's like, because the solar excuse me, the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse have come out for each other on their opposite energies for these readings. I've only done 2 so far. This is the second one. When it was the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse energy came out. When it was the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse energy came out. It's like both are needed. Both are needed. Because in the solar eclipse, the sun passes, or the moon passes in front of the sun, blocking out the sun to Earth. So it's like then the moon is what's in need of the sun. And the Earth says, okay, take what you need. It's an equal give and take. What else for Taurus, please? What else for Taurus? I don't know if they're going to give me anything else, actually. Because this is already a 20-minute reading, and I feel like it's really come out, like what needs to come out. I don't know if they're going to give me any more. Hang on. Is there anything else for Taurus? Nope. Okay, they do want me to do the as above, so below. So that is like the 13, that's Scorpionic energy right there. But it's Yule, which Scorpio season is before Yule, so I don't know why. Red and green. I don't know why that is, because I actually haven't read the book for that card, so I'm not entirely sure. But it's like right now I'm in summer, and then there's Yule card is here. So it's like the opposite thing again. But anyway, so we are going. Oh, I was saying that this is the above energy, right? This is what's going on cosmically. Like the sun is in need of the earth, or this. My gosh, my words are getting so mixed up today. The earth is in need of the sun, so the moon takes a step back and says, okay, you take what you need. And then, or at least energetically, this is the message that I'm getting. I don't know if that's scientifically true. And so it's like, that's what's happening cosmically. And how are we translating that down? How is that translating here on Earth? Okay. Clarify the Seven of Swords for Taurus. For the energy on Earth. Like for Taurus. Taurian energy on Earth. How does it translate, the Seven of Swords? Okay. Oh, 3 cards. Nice. Okay. So it's interesting because we have the King of Wands. And do you see that? It almost looks like that woman is in the fire. She's not, but it looks like it. It's like the burning of the witches on the stake with the Friday the 13th thing. And there's like, it's like men standing around her and she's standing in the fire. What was that character's name from Game of Thrones? Missandei? I think it was Missandei. She was kind of like this type of energy. So it's like, because men took her power away from her in the 14th or 15th century or whatever, like she can now come back and like burn them, but in a completely different way. Like the Queen of Wands, or this is the king, but it's a woman. So I'm saying like her, you don't have to be a woman. You can, it's just like the feminine energy. Okay. Like maybe if you're a man, it's like the feminine energy within you has been burnt to the ground, right? Like it was burned to the stake. Like maybe you were raised and you had to be like the masculine energy, right? But it's the same for a woman too. Like it's just the female energy and the king way. And that's the thing too, is like, that's yin and yang as well, masculine and feminine. One thing is out of balance because of something traumatic. Like the burning at the stake, that's traumatic, right? Not just for the person that's being burned at the stake, but all of their future lineage, right, is just traumatized because of this one thing. And it takes centuries to heal. It's still not healed fully, right? Like Friday the 13th still has a really negative connotation, even though it needs to be reclaimed as something that it was like a woman standing in her power and she got burned for it. And it's like, it's just time to let that feminine energy like stand again. I'm getting that on like a societal scale too. Like feminine energy has been so suppressed for so long that it's almost like it needs to rise again, right? Okay, and then sorry, that's such a long description. And we also have the Queen of Wands on the bottom of the deck, which is like the counterpart to the King of Wands. And in this, if you see, it's almost like a woman scolding another woman. It's like she's scolding her apprentice. Like, don't touch the fire, it's hot. And that's the thing, is like, it's that toxic feminine energy where it's like, don't do this or you'll be in trouble. It's like, if you're a slob, you're a bad person. That example, right? It's like, however you were raised or whoever was doing the teaching, it could have been teachers and the likes of that. It's like, you were just taught that the way you wanted to do something was the wrong way. I was having a conversation with a friend earlier about like learning disabilities and like being dyslexic and stuff like that, and how like it's not bad, it's just different, right? Like people with dyslexia, like the way that their brains like take in information and like compute it is so unique and different than like, it's just like neurodivergent versus neurotypical, right? And with this Three of Pentacles here, it's like this creative art form, how I was talking about the guitar earlier, whatever it is that you do that you loved and enjoy to do, it's like maybe it was robbed of you. Maybe it's something that you've never actually picked up because you were told you can't do that. You, like, maybe it's like you want to do a specific hobby, but your parents wouldn't let you do that hobby. They wanted you to do this hobby, and you've done that hobby your whole life. And now you're like, why have I never done this other hobby? I'm blah, blah, blah years old. Like, you know what I mean? And you're going to have a lot of fun exploring it. It could be art because, you know, they're literally doing art in this. But also, the Three of Pentacles, the traditional meaning of it is like teamwork, building together. So it does feel like this is a very like collective energy. Like, it's by everyone healing themselves that heals the world, right? Like I say that all the time. Heal yourself to heal the world. And excuse me. We have the Lovers on the bottom. And so this is interesting. It might be like, I know in America, I don't know if people that aren't in America will be watching this, but like in America, the housing market is just a fucking mess right now. Like, I want to buy a house and I can't buy a house because literally like the smallest piece of shit is like $150,000 to $175,000, and like it's just so unrealistic. Interest rates are going up. It's just a mess. But maybe it's like you are finding like a diamond in the rough here. Like, and it's not necessarily literal. It's because the Lovers too, traditionally, it is like the balancing of the masculine and feminine. It doesn't always have to be like a relationship. It's like, can be your own personal relationship with yourself, nurturing yourself, I'm hearing, mothering yourself. I saw this TikTok, this is a while back, so I don't know whose it was, but they were like, I wish I could go back and mother my mother the way that I needed to be mothered or the way that she needed to be mothered. I can't remember which one they actually said, but both apply, right? Like, I wish I could go back and mother my mother the way that she needed to be mothered, because then that would have made her a much better mother. And so on and so forth, right? Like, it's just, but we can't. The only way we can do it is by moving forward, by balancing it out, mothering ourselves the way that we need to be mothered, and maybe even mothering our mothers, right? Because sometimes in those toxic parent-child dynamics, it's because the parent is just a wounded child. When you get in an argument with them, they revert to their wounded child. They, you know, they get defensive because they just don't know any better. And it's almost like by giving yourself whatever it is that you always stifled, you're able to nurture and handle your other relationships better. It brings out just this like balance in you because it's something that soothes your soul. You know, it's like if you were neglecting something that called your soul that you weren't allowed to do when you were growing up, that's the way that you mother yourself, right? Like, give that to yourself. Let yourself do the thing that you were never allowed to do, that you always wanted to do, as long as it's not hurting anyone. You know, you don't want to hurt yourself, hurt others, anything like that. It's just, you need to reclaim that power, because here it's like someone's being scolded. Someone's saying, don't touch that. That's not for you. Or it could even be like spirituality, right? Like maybe you were raised in a really religious home and then spirituality is just, no, that is so bad. That's, you know, like evil, whatever. Because there are people who have those beliefs. And it's like you wanted to touch it, but you got scolded every time you like showed like your intuitive abilities, your psychic abilities or something like that. It's like, don't do that. And it just like, by being scolded all the time, it just completely blocks it off, right? And this is rising back up from that. It's like reclaiming that power. And it's almost like by doing whatever is calling your soul or used to call your soul, like go back into your childhood memories and like think about what it was that you truly desired as a child. And if you start doing that, it's like your life will start balancing out. It will start like giving you a sense of stability, because we do have the Three of Pentacles too. The Three of Pentacles is that start of that foundation. Yeah. You know, I don't even know if I needed an advice card. We are at 31 minutes. Is there advice needed? Because I feel like the advice is to do this thing. Accept yourself. Accept yourself. And if people judge you, if you show up in your life as yourself, and anyone who gives a damn about that can go F themselves, right? Like, who cares? Are they the main character in your life, or are you? Right? They're not the main character in your life. You are. So just live your damn life. We have Ilby the Retriever. An Ecstasis. Oh my gosh. Ilby the Retriever and Ecstasis. Okay. You are retrieving what is yours, and it is like ecstasy. And then on the bottom is He of the Fiery Sword. So it's like you're cutting off shame from your life, or that's the advice. Your advice is to cut off shame from your life. You don't need to have shame in your life. Go retrieve what is rightfully yours, and you will reach bliss, right? Or like it'll at least be a form of bliss in your life, because you're allowing yourself to just finally just be out there as yourself, and it'll draw in the right people and reject the wrong people. Because who we are, when we present ourselves as ourselves, it's like a boundary for those around us, okay? Like, this is who I am. If you want to come in, here's the door, okay? If you want to come in, here's the door. This is you. This is who I am. If you want to accept me as I am, the door will open for you. If you don't want to accept me as I am, the door will stay shut. Period. And you get to just be happy as a clam, and they get to be miserable. Okay? So, Taurus, this has been your reading. I hope it was helpful. If it was, you can like, comment, share, subscribe. I thank any of you for being present today. Any of your guides that are present, any of my guides that are present, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.